Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, the Corporal, bringing you my review and a kit bash on the Saw Viper. Yes, finally, I'm going to talk about this figure. I've had him for a while, and I didn't do a review on him. I kind of, sort of did. I did advertise him because I got one of them. My first one I got on a sale on Amazon, and that one it was I made a little commercial riffing on the Bell County Expo Center. So, for those who are not in Texas, we have this thing called the Bell County Expo Center, which is this big complex. I think it was built in like the 70s or the 80s. But we have monster truck rallies, we have rodeos, we have like flea markets over there, farmers markets, everything we sell. It's where they do the cattle trade and all that. There's conventions, Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and all that. And it's best known for its commercials, like the monster truck rallies in town at the Bell County Expo Center. And so that's what I was doing with the little ad. But afterwards, I just decided like I was going to do the review, but I kept wanting to kit bash the proper Saw Viper and all that. I wanted to make him perfect for y'all. So I finally sort of got him done and all that. And in the process of like buying figures, I got a second Saw Viper and all that, which is pretty good because Saw means squad automatic weapon. It doesn't mean semi-automatic weapon. So that's a kind of a mistake on Hasbro's part, but it's a squad automatic weapon, which is supposed to be for suppressive fire. So yeah. But anyway, let's get on to the review. No. So, as everybody knows, if you know anything about G.I. Joe, the Saw Viper is infamous because in the comics, a Saw Viper took out 7 Joes in one comic. And later, he got taken out by Snake Eyes. But he turns out he survived. And he came back in the Saw Viper gear working for Serpentor. But then he got taken out again. And then he got brought back as Overkill from Valor vs. Venom. So, Overkill is the same Saw Viper. So in Valor vs. Venom, that means that the events of the comic book happened. So yeah, 7 Joes got taken out by Overkill. And so I kind of wanted to make that Saw Viper. That's kind of like what that one Saw Viper looked like. This is what the new version looks like. And I like the look. It's a very Juggernaut looking thing. Like you'd see in GTA and all that, or Call of Duty and everything. Like those explosives, diffusion experts and all that. There's a term for those. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, and then he has the iconic Saw Viper look and everything. And the disc comes off and everything. He has the I think it came with Roadblock. The recolored that. That's why it has that little peg on there, because this doesn't peg onto it. But he has this weird machine gun thing with a saw attached to it, and I'm okay with the saw. The saw reminds me of a Ripper, but a saw is a squad automatic weapon, not an actual freaking saw. But the original figure did come with a weapon that had a saw on it. It sort of. If people don't know, the original weapon was essentially this, but it had a little saw bayonet on the top. But it was too big because they had the wrong size and they just shipped it out with the wrong size. And so, because when they make G.I. Joe figures, they're usually bigger and then they shrink them down. So it's very interesting to think that the Saw Viper was holding a belt-fed SM. Freaking motorcyclist. So the original Saw Viper was meant to have an SMG that was belt-fed and all that. And I think the closest weapon that looks like it is like the mole rat weapon. So, yeah. So he has this thing now. And I think I don't hate it, but it's just very finicky. The saw keeps falling off. This bar piece keeps falling off. This belt falls off. So it's very, very finicky. I do have a replacement for it though. One, you could replace it with the Grim Viper. I mean, not the Grim Viper. What's it called? What the Grim Viper? The Range Viper. You can replace it with his machine gun, or you can replace it with an actual LMG. That's something a Saw Viper would carry, and that's what the original one carried. But I do have a good replacement. Take off the belt. Okay. So but I'll show you the replacement in a minute. So this is the thing. I don't like it, but it's not the worst thing ever. He can hold it like he's freaking coming at you. It's easy to put on his hand, and he can hold it in a way that it's like he's coming at you with this. But it's very, you see, it's not good. It works better as a melee weapon. I'm not going to grab it. So he also comes with a pistol. Just a fairly generic pistol. Some kind of compensator or suppressor on it. It does have a blast for a hole for a blast, a porthole, a blast effect hole, whatever it's called. His arm guards, they're attached and all that. They could come off if you want. But I like how snug they are on. I really like that. He also has a knife, but the knife is like on there. And then he has his backpack. But just him from behind. I think his feet are a little too small for him, but he's wearing a lot of padding. Like the stuff on the legs, I wish it could have come off, but it doesn't. But I think all the padding just makes him look bigger than what he's supposed to be. But now the best part is that you could take off all the helmet stuff. So he's a guy with a balaclava and everything. Good balaclava look. I really like that. I just wish he didn't have this freaking earpiece. I think that ruins it. But because of that, you could have different versions of the Saw Viper. You could have just a guy with the neck thing on, so he looks like a explosive specialist. You could have more like the original Saw Viper, which didn't have all that stuff, but he just had the thing on his head. The helmet on his head. You could have a combination of both. You got both of them on it. So it's like you got 4 different figures with this. You can have the complete one, you can have the neck arm one, the helmet one, or the one without it. 4 different figures. And all that. And so replacement weapons, obviously. The LMG, the good replacement weapon. You could. So I don't remember if I could, but I think you could put the belt in there. But the belt is very finicky, so I'm not going to bother. Another good replacement weapon is this, the Range Viper LMG. So let's put that on him. Show you how it looks. Come on. Ta-da. You can see it's fairly awkward because he's just so bulky that it doesn't really work out. But that's how really a saw viper technically would be like this, because you got to shoot. You're suppressing fire. Okay, standing out there on freaking shooting from the hip, it's too dangerous. You got to shoot from cover and suppress the fire. So yeah, he's just way too bulky to hold this weapon properly. But then I found a weapon that he can hold that works fairly well, and it's just the Operation Monster Force version of the same weapon. So yeah, I saw this online and I was like, oh, I got to get this. But if you see my polls, I keep saying, hey, should I get Operation Monster Force? And it was for this and a figure. But I never got the figures. But luckily for me, I found Fodder Kingdom was selling it, so I got it. And it came with its accessories, including the saw, which is nice and long. Okay? So give me a second to grab the saw I dropped. Okay, so so he holds it the same way and holds it pretty well. So it's still not really like a saw, it's more like a heavy weapons type of thing and all that. And you look at it, it is like, okay, with all of that, you're going for the guy. Gears of War-esque. And everything. Okay? That works way better. Just you got all of that. You got all that reach. Okay? Compared to the... Stay still. So he needs a stand. Okay, I like him with a stand. Compared to this. This falls off so easy. That's connected. That is on there. Okay? So, the weapons are pretty much the same length, in a way. This one's a little bit longer. They both have the barrel behind the tip of the saw. But this one has a cover guard and all that. And this one, I don't know how that would operate. Because this one has like a little motor and all that. I assume there might be a button on the grip. But because this one comes off, I keep thinking like, well, how does it work? Because there's a trigger on it and everything. So it has that problem and all that. And they're pretty much the same weapon, really. If you look at their silhouette, this one really looks more like an actual like LMG. This looks more like a sci-fi thing, but they kind of have very similar aspects to them. So I think this thing was meant to be an LMG. It's just very thick and all that. Let's grab the LMG. Let's grab this one from because this one's probably more accurate. So yeah, no, it very much looks like one. They both have that look to them. Same kind of iron sights. With the G.I. Joe one, you can see, yeah. It's very odd looking at him. But yeah, if you're gonna get saw vipers, I would recommend getting this. It comes in a head pack kind of thing with the riot shield and all that. So if you could get yourself one of these, really get it for your Viper and all that, because it's just a way better weapon. He holds it way better. It's because it's designed in a very similar way that he could hold it way better, and it just has a more intimidating kind of presence to it. It really does kind of have that chainsaw feel. This one is nice because it's a ripper. You can put it in his hand, which I will do with this one. So he has an extra accessory and all that. But this one, I actually put them on the side. Right. Comes with extra accessories. So if you don't want the saw, you just want the ammo, you get it. You can have a grenade launcher. You can have a shotgun. None of these make sense. The saw one makes sense though. But yeah. So, and they do feel weird and all that. They do have a weird plastic feeling to them. Like they're all hollow, very detailed and all that, but it's a very hard plastic. All these other ones are kind of like a harder, like rubbery, and this one's a harder plastic as well, but it's different. Like this feels like kind of like a Halloween decoration, in all honesty. But I love how the wash on it, the paint, and the weathering and all that. I like that, so I would recommend getting this for your Saw Viper, especially if you're just gonna have one at least, or if you want to get into Operation Monster Force, you could do that. But I just got lucky and got it. That's him with the backpack on. So, does the belt fit in here? No, it does not. It does kinda in a way, but it has the ammo thing anyway, and they connect in two spots. But it's on there pretty well. So now let's put the LMG in his hands and see how he looks. Now we're going to talk about my kit bashing. I would not recommend using the Valorverse LMG. It doesn't fit in his hand. And all that. So that's how he looks with the LMG. Not really the best look for him, I gotta admit. It is a little bit of a disappointment, but it kind of works and all that. It's just the ammo box gets in the way. I feel like the belt could kind of fix that, but I gotta be honest, I don't like the belt. Oh, no, here it is. I forgot where I put it. I don't like this belt that much. Like, you're supposed to put that end in the thing and all that. But if he's one-handing it, it does work. The bullets will fit in the little slot. Though he can hold it like this. So I just think it looks a little awkward with that one thing in the popping out. But yeah, that's how he looks like with the LMG. And what's nice about the G.I. Joe LMG, if you have the Valorverse weapon effects from the Praetorian, you could just attach that into the slot. Because it does fit in there. And there you go. He's firing it off. Put a blast effect on there. Ta-da. This does take blast effects, but it's kind of like intermediary. Like, it's too big for Valorverse, and it's too small for G.I. Joe, but it does. The G.I. Joe ones do fit in it, so yeah. It's just a little bit, kind of like a little loose. On stiffness, they're both very stiff. Okay, they're both very. But I've had them for a little while, so some parts of them are not as stiff as they were. But yeah, it's pretty much like a solid leg. Like, look, I cannot bend this knee. I could bend the top one, the bottom one, I cannot whatsoever. See. The arms as well. He's an extremely stiff figure. I feel like because look, I could bend it. Sometimes I keep thinking like, oh, they're not bendable legs, and it's like, no, they do bend, as you can see. This one's a bit different. This one's supposed to be overkill. This is Robert Skelton. I looked at several images of Robert Skelton. He does not have the shoulder pads. He wouldn't have the leg stuff either, but I don't have replacement legs. One day I hope to get I want to get an extra torso of this in Snake Eyes, and maybe I could swap out the legs and everything, and the arms, and then, yeah, he'll be perfect. For the head, I use Mercer. I was so glad it could fit. I wish I got a regular Mercer head, but that one sold out right before I bought it. So it saddens me that and I've been doing something with his original head. It saddens me I couldn't get regular Mercer and all that. But the helmet does fit. It's a little bit loose on him, but it does fit. He did not have like a balaclava underneath. Okay, so that makes me think that the Saw Viper, that he was just a special one, and not like a true builder. Like Robert Skelton should have his own figure. He's not the Saw Viper. I mean, he's not a Saw Viper. He's the Saw Viper. And all that. Oh, no. Get back on there. So, and I love that he fits on that Valiver stand. I love that. So, you may be wondering why we had him there. Okay. It's very simple. It involves a chainsaw. Okay. Now, you're going to tell me what the yayo is. Okay. No, I'm not talking, huh? Or maybe... Okay, well, I guess we got to set an example for your friends. I was going to animate this. I was going to put Play-Doh all over him and all that. I was going to snap him in half too for the effect and all that. But it's like everything keeps falling over. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But you can see, like, look at that. I'm going to rotate it. Like, look. That's fairly intimidating. And all that. It leaves one heck of a mess. But look how cool that looks to me. Look, wouldn't you want that? Yeah, because this one just looks silly. Let's be honest, this looks silly. You got to have the detail and all that to make it look cool. And everything. But yeah. Well, okay, but yeah, when it comes to the Saw Viper, I feel like everybody should have one Saw Viper. Two of them, yeah, that's a squad. You got to have at least two of them. But a bunch of them, nah, because he's a very hard figure to work with. And you got to buy like extra stuff to like make him look good. But I feel like one is good enough to just have like the perfect squad automatic guy or the perfect heavy weapons guy. It's just you need one guy. But I'm hoping we're gonna get a Python Patrol one, because that was like gold and it was a gold and red, and I really like that look. And I kind of wanted to make a jungle Saw Viper using the Grim Viper's parts, but it didn't come to be. But it's not off the table. Okay, again, if I could get myself just the torsos and the legs and stuff, we might get a jungle Saw Viper. I'm just going to use this normal head. But this head I want for something else. But ideally, I could use Mercer's head if I ever get a second one. So yeah, why I use Mercer's head is because he's technically a generic... trooper. Oh, before I forget. Yeah, he's a generic trooper. He's what a Viper looks like underneath the helmet. I don't want to forget this. Dang it, the phone keeps But that's his ball joint. He has a smaller ball joint than other figures, and that's why it's kind of a pain to find a head for him. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much. I hope you all have a nice day. Bye-bye.